Well, we all want to get better at our relationships, not just the romantic ones, but those with our friends, family, and coworkers. Licensed marriage and family therapist turned book author of Hard Worker Harmony is back on the show this morning to shed light on all of that for us. Keandra, good to have you back on.
Likewise. Thank you again for having me.
Absolutely. So in the last hour, we talked about how relationships are not only the romantic ones, but also with friends, family, and coworkers. So piggybacking off of that, I want to concentrate on coworkers for a moment. What do you do when a coworker who you're forced to see every day is a cause of stress or your relationship with them becomes unhealthy? What are some tools to navigate that space?
Yes, I can imagine that so many of us are experiencing this right now. And oftentimes we spend more time with our coworkers than our actual family members. So I would encourage people to create boundaries in order to help your coworkers learn how to interact with you. And then the second thing, if there's some type of drama or issues at work, speak directly to that person. Don't walk around like like it doesn't exist, right? Maybe this can be resolved between both parties. And if things don't work out that way, you can always speak to a supervisor or a boss to help resolve any issues, because no one wants to have a toxic work environment, whether it's virtual or in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Well, the holidays are just around the corner, and this year gatherings will obviously be much smaller with the pandemic as a concern. But what advice do you have for people to keep their stress in order this time of year and make sure that they are keeping their relationships intact?
Yes, there's so much that has happened this year, but I want to encourage people to focus on what's right versus what's wrong. It's easy to complain about all the negative and the not so good things that's happening, but I want to encourage people to pick one or two things that they can focus on that has gone right this time frame. And then the next thing I would encourage people to do is to implement harmony instead of balance. I think of harmony as like all of these parts working interconnected in a positive way, and balance is kind of just us getting by, right? Like I almost think of like a juggler, who tries to keep all the balls in the air, but they're not making sure all of those things work together simultaneously. So make sure you have harmony. And last but not least, prioritize peace. I always say that if there is someone or something that is stealing my peace, my joy, and my happiness, I need to reevaluate that situation.
I love that. Prioritize peace. That sounds nice. It makes me feel relaxed already. All right. So what do you recommend in terms of setting boundaries with people? How do you go about that without offending someone?
Boundaries is a very interesting one. And what boundaries they're basically just invisible lines that we set for ourselves and others that teach them how to teach us, right? And so I would encourage people to say no when they need to and actually mean it, because oftentimes we go back on our words. We'll tell someone no, and then we might feel a little bad and we'll go back and do it. But it's okay to set a strong boundary and say no for the things that you are unable to do or you can't do for whatever reason. And I found that those who struggle with people pleasing are the ones who try to worry about what the responses of other people are versus prioritizing themselves and saying, hey, this is what I can do now, and this is the most I can do. I'm at my capacity. And then last but not least, I always pose this question to some of my people who struggle with setting boundaries is, what's the worst thing that can happen if you set the boundary? The person might be a little bit upset. They may not talk to you for a week or two, but it isn't the end of the world.
Yeah, I love that. And there's so much power in saying no. And you detail all of that in your book. Again, Work Hard or Harmony. I read it from start to finish. It is available right now for folks at home that are interested ahead of the holidays. So where should our viewers head to if they do want to snag a copy?
Absolutely. They can visit hardworkorharmony.com to get a signed copy. I would love to send those to you guys. It is, again, www.hardworkorharmony.com.
All right. And I have my signed copy right here, and I appreciate you sending it to me. It was a fantastic read and certainly therapeutic. Keandra Jackson, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me again. I'm always happy to be here.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great holiday season.